So AI agents are absolutely everywhere now, right? They are searching the web, automating tasks, giving us real-time answers. But how do they actually do all that? Well, I'll tell you, it's not magic. It's actually a surprisingly simple system. And today, we are going to pull back the curtain and show you the exact blueprint for how it all works. You know, building an AI agent sounds super complicated, but the core idea, it's really straightforward. And by the end of this explainer, you're going to understand the complete blueprint. We're going to focus just on the how and the why. No coding required, I promise. All right, let's dive right in. To really get what makes an AI agent so powerful, we have to start with the problem they solve. And that problem? It's the limitation of your standard chatbot. This slide just nails a core difference. A large language model, or an LLM, is kind of like a brilliant brain, but it's stuck in a jar. It can generate amazing text, but it's totally disconnected from the real world. An AI agent, on the other hand, is what gives that brain arms and legs. It's a whole system that lets the LLM search the web, use different tools, and actually get stuff done. So how exactly does an agent get these superpowers? Well, it's all in the architecture. Let's break down the anatomy of how a typical agent is actually built. And here it is. This is the entire blueprint in one shot. It all kicks off with a user request. Then the LLM figures out what you want and decides on an action. That might mean using a tool or grabbing something from its memory, all before it puts together that final response. Let's walk through each step. Okay, step 1. Everything starts with you. You provide an input, which is just a simple text request. It could be a question, like, what's the weather today? Or maybe a command like, hey, summarize this article for me. That request you just sent, it goes straight to the heart of the system, the large language model. This is the agent's brain, and its main job is simply to understand what you're trying to do. But here's the key thing. The LLM doesn't actually do the task itself. Think of it more like a delegator. It just figures out what needs to be done next. And this is a magic moment. Seriously, this is the step that turns a basic chatbot into a real agent. The LLM looks at your request and asks itself, okay, can I answer this with what I already know? Or do I need to go get some fresh, real-time data? Do I need a specific tool to figure this out? So if the LLM decides it needs help, it calls a tool. And you can think of tools as the agent's arms and hands. They let it interact with the outside world. This could be a search API to find out what's happening right now, a calculator to do some math, or maybe a connection to a database to look something up. The agent sends a query to the tool, and the tool sends a result right back. Okay, but what about remembering things from one conversation to the next? That's where the memory component comes in, and it's absolutely essential. The agent can store key bits of information, like details from past chats or your personal preferences. Then it can pull that info up later to add context and give you a much more personalized answer. And finally, all the pieces come together. The LLM takes your original request. It takes the result from any tools it used, and it grabs any relevant info from its memory. It synthesizes all of this stuff to generate the final, coherent, and hopefully intelligent response that it sends back to you. Okay, so that's the theory behind the blueprint. But what does this actually look like in the real world? Let's run through a couple of quick, concrete examples to see this whole system spring into action. So let's say you ask, what's the weather in Kuala Lumpur? The agent's LLM brain immediately knows, hey, I can't answer that from my old training data. I need real-time info. So it makes a decision. Call the Weather API tool. That tool returns the current weather, and then the LLM uses that very specific data to craft a helpful answer for you. Simple as that. Now, what about a different kind of request? Like, remind me to study AI every day. The agent recognizes this isn't just a one-off question. It's a long-term preference. So here's the smart part. It decides to use its memory system. It stores this preference, and now it can use that context in the future to give you reminders or personalized suggestions. Pretty cool, right? So you see, the real power here isn't in any single piece. It's not just the LLM's brain, or the tools, or the memory. The real breakthrough is the system. It's how all these different parts connect and work together seamlessly. And this gives us a really clean definition. An AI agent is a system that combines three things: an LLM for reasoning, tools for taking action, and memory for providing context. It's those three pillars working together that creates what feels like truly intelligent behavior. So why does this architecture matter so much? Well, because this is what lets AI break free from just being a text generator. It can now access real-time information, which dramatically reduces the risk of it just making things up, what we call hallucinations. It allows the AI to perform genuinely useful tasks and to personalize its responses based on what it knows about you. And look, if you take away just one single thing from this entire explainer, please let it be this. AI agents are not just models. They are systems. The intelligence you see emerges from the beautiful orchestration of all the parts. Now, of course, these systems aren't perfect. Yet, they can still pick the wrong tool sometimes or make reasoning mistakes. And yeah, all these extra steps can add delays and cost. But even with those challenges, they represent a huge leap forward from models that can only spit out text. So with that whole architecture laid out, where do we go from here? What does all this mean for the future of AI? Ultimately, it all boils down to this simple but incredibly powerful formula. You take the understanding from the LLM, you add the action enabled by tools, and you mix in the context provided by memory. And what does that equal? An intelligent system. This is a recipe that's transforming AI from simple chatbots into real-world problem solvers. So now that you have the blueprint, how about we actually build one? Because that is exactly what we're going to do next time. We'll take all this theory and turn it into a real working AI agent. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you then.